Good. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So happy to see so many people out. I got a giant pair of scissors up here. I'm going to put those away for now. So thank you. I know it's a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate everybody coming out, taking the time to join us for this very historical occasion. The new City Hall isn't done every day. In fact, it hasn't been done in over 100 years here in Viroqua. So we're going to try to make this brief. I know everybody just wants to get in the building, see the building, but there's an awful lot of people we want to thank. First of all, it's just a little history on the building. Number one, depending on who you ask, this building has been on the docket for getting completed for either 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years. When I came in 2019, I saw a report that from 2004 that illustrated the need for a new building. And it took almost 20 years since that point to get to this point. So it really is a momentous occasion, and a lot of people work very hard on it. The building to my left over here, the former City Hall building, just a little background, 1917, it was built as a bank, and the city purchased it in 1934, and it served the city well for those many years, almost 88 years, almost 90 years. But very quickly, the city realized that it just no longer served the purposes of serving the citizens, the residents, the businesses of this community as best as it could. And so in 2020, under the leadership of former Mayor Karen Mischel and the City Council at the time, we decided to move forward and make the commitment in building this new building. Groundbreaking took place in June of 2021, and after many delays and challenges, we're finally here today, and I'm very excited to welcome everybody to the new City Hall. So for those who don't know me, my name is Nate Torres. I'm the city administrator and been here since 2019. And it has been a monumental task getting this project up, running, going to where we're at today. And part of that was all the people who contributed. And first on that list is the fine folks from FEMA, the Wisconsin Emergency Management, and Vernon County Emergency Management. So I'd like to bring up the Katie Summers and her group. And then our friends from FEMA, as well as Brandon Larson from Vernon County Emergency Management. So through our work with these fine folks, we were able to secure a grant for approximately $630,000, which helped us offset the total cost for the project, but it helped us establish a community safe room that provides near life-saving protection for the residents and guests of Viroqua in the event of tornadoes and other dangerous weather. I'd like to send a special shout out to Brandon Larson, who was instrumental in bringing this grant to you. A quick little story. He shows up in my office one day, and in 5 minutes sits me down, goes through an application, and I remember how bad his handwriting was. It was just awful. And he says, okay, I'm going to turn this in for you. And he was out like 5 minutes total. It was about 3 months, maybe 3 weeks later, can't remember, I got a award notice on my desk saying that we've just been pre-approved for a lot of money. So very, very thankful and appreciative of Brandon Larson for thinking of us, and for the folks at FEMA and WEM for the work that they've done. They're wonderful people. They're responsive. They're patient, and they're very knowledgeable, and I cannot say enough nice things about the work that they do over there. So with that, I'm going to invite the director from the group of WEM, Katie Summers, to just say a little bit about the program. Katie?
Thank you. Thanks, Nate. I'm really excited and honored to be here today. It's been an absolute pleasure working with Nate and the city of Viroqua. You may or may not know Wisconsin Emergency Management's Hazard Mitigation Program. We implement projects throughout the state to reduce or eliminate risk to natural hazards, including tornado hazards. And that's how we were able to provide some of the funding for this building. Part of this building is a tornado safe room, like Nate said, to help protect citizens on a really, really bad day. So we were thrilled to be able to put this project in place, not only because it can help protect certain residents, but also because when you have a building with as critical functions as a city hall, if that goes down right in the middle of an emergency or disaster, that's just going to have a cascading effect on the rest of the community. So we saw this project, we were really excited about it. It's one of the first tornado safe rooms that we've done. This is actually a full multi-use structure. So it's really exciting. We're just really glad to be here today. I want to thank also Brandon and Carolyn from FEMA for their assistance on this project. So thank you, and we're excited to move forward with the ribbon cutting.
All right, next up, I'd like to bring up Julie Last. Julie, hopefully I'm saying your last name right. Nailed it? Come on up, Julie. Julie is the state director from the Wisconsin, well, I should say, let me say that again, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. She's the state director for Wisconsin. The USDA, equal to FEMA, was instrumental in making this project happen. The USDA provides a low-interest 40-year loan that allowed this project to be financed without handicapping the city from doing many other projects that are needed going forward. A couple folks that we worked with regularly that I want to give a special plug now that I got Julie right here is Nate Billinghurst, who was the program director. Just an amazing guy. He's done a lot of projects like this throughout Wisconsin, and he's just very easy to work with. And he just, when he needed to step in, he stepped in, and I really appreciate that out of the state office. And then most importantly, I'll say Ku Zhang, who was a program specialist, who was on the right with us for the full duration of the project. 3.5 years, Ku was responding to our calls, helping us fill out paperwork, showed tremendous patience as we forgot stuff or didn't quite know what we were doing. I was joking with Julie that the USDA process can be somewhat arduous, but it's by design to make sure that they're doing everything right. And so I just can't say enough about this program, and would encourage any community who's thinking about building this type of facility to look in the community facilities program. And with that, I'll bring Julie up and ask her to speak just a little bit.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little bit more height challenged than Nate, so thank you. So it is just an honor to be here with all of you today. I had the chance to talk with Mike a little bit from the architecture company just about what it took to bring this project together. And like Nate said, it all depends who you talk to. If it was 20 years, 10 years, and in Ku's case, 3.5 years. But, it's just wonderful to be here to see this type of investment in Viroqua by not only the federal government, the state government, but also the citizens.
In action, doing fantastic work at critical times for folks. So we look forward to hopefully him getting here soon, but if not, we're going to ask Council President John Thompson to join me eventually. So John's sweating over there, hoping Justin shows up. All right. Next, I want to see if we have any of our state or federal officials with us today. I know usually Lauren and Brad, Senator Paff, and Representative Oldenburg are here. Where are we at? Oh, Greg Wabernick? Greg, would you like to come up and say something on behalf of Tammy Baldwin's office? Okay, Greg is bashful, which I've never seen before. Okay, thanks. Well, if anybody shows up later, Greg, you just let me know if you spot anybody. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to ask our building committee to join us. Chair Tim Hunt led the charge on that. Mayor Running and also former Mayor Mischel. Karen, if you want to come up too. Alderperson Tanya is not here. She is away on some important business. Alderperson John Thompson. Paul Woodward, I don't think I saw today. Chief Rick Neufeld is probably out on patrol, and myself. And so I just want to thank those folks that I named for their work on the project. They spent countless hours going through design plans, making hard decisions, asking the right questions, and ultimately making hard choices when it came time to cuts or change orders or whatever it may be. So I can't thank these folks enough for the time they put in. Tim, as our chair, was just a wealth of information in his background. And so, Tim, would you like to say something? Sure. Go ahead, Tim.
Thanks, everybody. So, former Mayor Mischel asked me to be on the building committee 3.5 years ago. I thought, how long can it take to build a building, right? Well, I wish everyone could see the path that we took to get here. just in that 3.5 years, because it wasn't just about City Hall. At one point, we had the city police department in this building. We had a number of different designs, different building options came up, and I just can't say enough about Nate Torres, because the twists and turns that we took to come up with a solution that really worked and was affordable and we could get accomplished was just amazing. And the analysis that he came up with all these options and the pluses and minuses, there were a lot of decisions, but he made our decision making a lot easier with all of his information. So I want to thank Nate for that. And every once in a while I see on social media, I hear people talking about, well, did we really need that building? Did we, are we wasting taxpayer dollars? And of course that's always a good question to ask, but if you've been in that old building, and I can say that I started covering City Hall meetings, I think 2002, 2003. And if you've ever sat through a meeting in there with semi trucks stopping next door, and it was just time. And I think what people need to ask is really, what do you get for your dollar? How much bang do you get for your tax dollar? I can tell you, you're getting a lot of bang for your tax dollar, both with the City Hall project and with the police department project and the City Hall project. Really got a lot of value, and I think we timed it at a time where you really got a lot of construction for your money as well. One quick question or story about first City Hall meeting I ever went to. I went in and they had all those little kindergarten plastic chairs, sitting around. They were really uncomfortable, so I was looking for a comfortable chair, and I saw this nice wooden chair with arms on it, and I sat down, and I think Bud Beckett-Hall was sitting there, and I sat in the chair, and he goes, you're sitting in Bill's chair. And I went, well, I'm sorry, who's Bill? Well, that was Bill Moffitt. If anybody remember Bill Moffitt, business owner here in town, did a lot of business development. So I hope when you move into the new City Hall, you keep that wooden chair that's probably still sitting there in the City Hall in the council room. But thank you, everybody, and thanks, Nate and former Mayor Mischel.
John, you sure you don't want to stay up here? It's going to look awfully silly if it's just Nate in all these pictures. You're going to look back and say, who's this? All right, thanks, John. Let's see, where were we? Oh, the Viroqua Redevelopment Authority. So as part of this project, we worked with the Redevelopment Authority to secure the 40-year loan. And again, that loan was instrumental in making sure that this project, as Tim said, was done in a financially prudent way that wouldn't handicap the city from being able to do lots of important projects going forward. We have quite a few members, and I appreciate you guys coming out of the Redevelopment Authority here today. John being one of them. See, I saved you some steps, John. Jan Rizikis, if you want to come up. Chris Roseski, who served as our chair and shot a terrible golf game today, evidently. Laura Meeks. Hi, Laura, you're just in time. You want to come up? Tom Weston, he's probably still out golfing, I'm guessing. He was out there. Yeah. He's still out there? Oh. Sand trap? And then Alderperson Tanya Bierka and Amanda Worthison. And so many thanks to these folks for the work that they did. Chris, I don't think you wanted to say anything. I think I picked on you enough. So thanks to these folks. They put in a lot of hours to help make this happen as well. And we hope to see the Redevelopment Authority be in action for many years to come. No, John, you get to stay. I promise we're almost done. So I'd like to thank Brickell Brothers. I don't know if anybody know the current market of construction, but this is their busy time. So unfortunately, none of our friends from Brickell were able to make it. But I do want to send a special shout out to Jay Johnson. He was our on-site project supervisor, and Jay, we were about ready to make sure he had a seat at our break room because that's how much he was there. He worked hard for us. He got along great with the staff. He tried to make our lives as easy as possible. And so I think Jay's out pouring concrete somewhere in Liberty Pole. So many thanks to him and Brickell Brother for the work they did to help us get this wonderful new building. finally, ADCI, and then we're done, folks. So ADCI was our architect on the project. Mike Moss, who was our principal. Where'd you go, Mike? Oh, come on over, Mike. So Mike and his team, like many of the other folks here, have been on this project for a long time. And I think Tim gave a great explanation of sort of the twists and turns that this project took. And I feel a little bad for Mike because it was kind of like having a dog on a leash that just wanted to go check everything out. He was just holding on the reins, trying to, keep us on track and go for the ride. We started in March of 2020. We took 6 to 7 months to actually pick what the scope of the project was. Was it going to be the police station? Was it going to be the police station and the city hall? And he ended up helping us build 2 buildings. They were the architects on both the PD and city hall. And I think the outcome was just tremendous. And I think we have them to thank more than anybody for the beautiful building that we've got resounding compliments on from the community. So with that, I'd like to thank Mike for his patience, his knowledge, his responsiveness, his teamwork, all of the above, and allow him to make a few words if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hello, everyone. As Nate said, my name is Mike Moss. I'm a project architect with Architectural Design Consultants Incorporated, otherwise known as ADCI. We're based out of Lake Delton. So when we came on board the project team early in 2020, one of the first tasks at hand for me was to become familiar with the city. And I learned very quickly that Viroqua, while it's difficult to get to, we're over by Lake Delton and we take back roads to get over here. I could not believe how vibrant this community is. That's the thing that really struck me initially. Growth, vision, just things going on. And a lot of municipal projects, governmental projects, they can be pretty bland, quite honestly, and we did not want that type of facility, that type of facade for Viroqua. We wanted something more energetic, more alive. And that's where kind of the inspiration came from for the design that you see here. A lot of colors, a lot of materials, but the real thing is the icon thing, if you will, is what was deemed the butterfly roof. If you look at it from the focal point coming in from the corner, that roof is that particular shape for a reason. It's got multiple angles to it, but it's taking flight, and that encompasses really what we feel Viroqua is taking flight, it's moving. From that point, obviously, and Tim commented on this, you got a lot of bang for your buck as far as what's going on in this building. There's not, overall, it's not a lot of square footage for a governmental building, but the efficiency of everything going on inside and the amount of things going on inside this building is pretty amazing, quite honestly. Multi-use spaces, but everything has a purpose. And to that point, a lot of that didn't come from us as far as the architectural design is concerned. It came from staff. So the input from staff on this building was absolutely amazing. People sharing how things work, how they needed to work, us interjecting thoughts where we could, but really fine-tuning everything to get to a point of where it was as efficient as it possibly could be. So I certainly want to thank the city staff for their involvement. I'd like to thank the council for the vision to move forward with the project. I've been on multiple municipal governmental projects, and it's a struggle, quite honestly, for communities to make the decision to move forward. And I can tell you that I've never had a community, after a project is complete, come back and say, we wish we never would have done that. It's a big step forward, but once you decide to take that step and you get to today, that's where obviously it pays off. And this facility will be here for decades to come, so that's absolutely amazing. I also want to send a thank you out to the building committee. So as was also mentioned, we spent a lot of time together, a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings. We spoke about many things that they probably never would have imagined. Restroom fixtures and countertops and windowsills and everything that goes into a building, but it all matters. The details matter. And they really took interest in every part of this design. So a lot of effort went into it from the building committee, and thank you to everyone for that. The last thing I'd want to say is congratulations to the city, the citizens of Viroqua. This is your building. Obviously, you own it. You should be proud of it. It's fantastic. I think a lot of communities would desire to have a new building of this type, and many don't. So I hope that you enjoy it for years to come and put it to good use. And thank you for including us in your project. We appreciate it.
All right, just some special recognition. I'd like to thank Kurt Mukow from Viroqua. Kurt has been a longtime consultant for the city. He's supported us through so many different projects over the years, street projects, building projects, you name it. He's always joined in on some of the heavy lifting. And on this one, he was really instrumental in helping us navigate the USDA process, which we've talked about can sometimes be a lot of work. And so many thanks to our friend Kurt Mukow. I don't see him here yet today, but hopefully he'll show up later. So thanks to Kurt. Former city administrators, I'd like to take a special moment to thank John Severson. John passed away recently back in 2021. He served as the city clerk here at City Hall from 2005 to 2011. And then as the administrator, he's actually my direct predecessor from 2011 to 2019. So John gave a good 14 years of his life to the city to make it better, to get it where he is today. So I'd like to dedicate this building in part to the work that he did to help move Viroqua forward. And then secondly, Jeff Golke. Jeff also passed away recently in 2022. He was a city administrator a couple before John and served from 2006 to 2009, and then was a council member from 2017 to 2019. And he also served as the city's VDA coordinator for a lot. So Jeff, as well as John, had a lot of passion for the city, and they were staples for the city government for many years. So I'd like to also dedicate part of this building to both John and Jeff's memory and what they did. And finally, city staff, the folks that I get to work with day in, day out, or who have to work with me, and we'll use this building going forward. So our utility staff, sewer and water, Cheryl Purvis, she's somewhere around here. She's our utility clerk. She'll be inside. You can chat her up about all the fun stuff that has to do with utilities. Sarah Kemp is somewhere around here as well. She's our billing clerk. She works with Cheryl and helps making sure that the water and sewer utility run on time. Angie Eitland Anderson, she's right here. She helped put this thing together and did all the planning and scheduling and invites and stuff. Angie is kind of the grease that makes everything go at City Hall, and she helps out in both city and utilities. So thanks very much to Angie for all the work she did to make today happen and the other things she does around the city. Lori Paul Hamus, our trusty city clerk. Hi, Lori. And her, as well as our new deputy city clerk, Joy Conley, who's over there in the blue. They purposely coordinated a match today. Just incredible folks to work with. And then Sarah Granger, she's way over there in the distance, not sure what she's up to. She's probably monitoring how the traffic is flowing on Decker and Main Street, constantly thinking about improvements. Those are the folks who work here alongside me day in, day out. They are an incredibly talented, hardworking group of people. They're fun, they're bright, and they do it all in service to the people of Viroqua. I would like to thank them for their extra dose of patience and effort as we worked through this project. It wasn't easy on me, and they had to deal with some of my moods as the project swung up and down. And I just can't tell you how wonderful you all are and how much I appreciate you. So thank you very much. And then the other city departments, maybe a handful of them are here right now, but this building is not just for the City Hall folks. This is the nucleus for the entire city. We serve the fire department, we serve the police department, the McIntosh Memorial Library, Library of the Year. We help make sure that they get the resources, we help them with payroll, the airport, the streets department, the sewer and water utility, everything runs through here. And I want to thank those staff members as well, because we have a really, really good crew here, and we're happy to have the City Hall to serve them better. And then finally, put John into service. John, do you want to handle this last part for you?
You informed me that I was doing it.
So Council President John Thompson, everybody.
was just given this job just before this started, so there's no practice, there's no anything, so if I foul that up, sorry about that. Okay. We want to recognize former and current alderpersons who had a role in the project. Alderpersons since March 2020, when the project officially kicked off. Recognize them not only for their individual contributions and support of the project, but also for the citizens they represent. It says, ask Council President John Thompson to join. Well, I'm here. Alderperson Ward 1, David Triggersted. Alderperson Ward 2, former alderman is Gregory Splinter, and the current alderman is Andrew Burkham. Alderperson for Ward 3 formerly was Terry Noble, formerly was Nathaniel Slack, former was Joe Aller, and current is Todd Kirking. I don't think Todd's here. Alderperson for Ward 4, the current one is Tanya Berkey, and she is not here. Alderperson for Ward 5, former one was Mike Coppa, former one Ben Wilson, and the current is Todd Spaeth. Alderperson for Ward 6, currently Cindy Hubbard. Alderperson for Ward 7, myself. Alderperson for Ward 8 was Sandra Noxie, and now is Crystal Welter. Alderperson for Ward 9, former was Jeff Goki, former was Peter Berquist, former was Allison Sandbeck, and the current is Steve Willis. And a special thanks to former Mayor Karen Mischel. You can come up.
So, Karen, former Mayor Mischel was a very large part of this project. Justin always joked that Karen built this for him and he just got to enjoy it. So with that, I'd like to ask Karen if she'd like to say a few words about her role in the project.
Nate asked me earlier if I wanted to say something. I said, come on, Nate, you've known me long enough that I never want to say something, but I know that I should. So here we are, and most of what I was planning to say has already been said. I was reflecting back this morning that in 2019, the very first project that I directly gave to Nate as a new city administrator was to coordinate the inspectors to find out just exactly what state we currently were in our old city hall. And I wasn't expecting it to be a glowing review, but it certainly highlighted exactly the need that had been acknowledged many years before, and that it was time to move on. My biggest concern in the building that we were in at the time, well, there were a couple. Our former mayor, before myself, Mr. Larry Fanta, was in the mayor's office there, and the setup of the former city hall, the men's bathroom is a part of the mayor's office, and that was always fun when you were trying to conduct business, and Nate would come peek his head in the door, and I'd say, okay, I'll just step out for a minute, and there was always those fun quirks of the building. But the one thing that I also recognized was our staff that we had is a very dedicated, hardworking, phenomenal servants to this community. And they were not being given the work environment that they deserved to have. Many of them were often had colds and headaches, and there just was something about the space that I thought was correlated to a better opportunity to be healthy that we needed to provide. So it wasn't just to have a prettier building, but we needed to provide a space that was deserving of the people who serve this community every day. And I think we accomplished that. It was great to work with all of you and hear what you had to say every day about your challenges and what you needed. And I hope that we were able to create what you needed and what you can carry forward to continue to do a great job. But then also the opportunity to have public engagement And it's funny because I stand out here and I listen to the traffic going by, and that was very similar to being in the building during a council meeting of the same volume of traffic and disruption. And what we were really lacking is being able to have the community come in and join us, because it was tight quarters and not an enjoyable space. And so I'm very proud to have been part of something that we can now open up for the community as well. And so I do also want to echo appreciation for Nate in, wow, the countless hours and countless pivoting and trying something new, and what if we try this, and well, what if we do that, and some pretty as Viroqua can be, pretty strong opinions about what it should be, and being able to guide us all through that process. We probably couldn't have come up with such a fantastic space without somebody like Nate at the helm. So that's all. Thank you for all coming and sharing in this excitement.
All right, with that, we are going to make no further ado. I'm going to ask city staff, I'm going to pivot real quick and ask city staff to join us in the background from this picture, because I like to keep them on their toes. So anybody who works at city staff, that means you, Sarah Kemp, and Granger, and all others. Come up, we're going to do ahead in the background, and then we're going to ask Council President John. No, Cindy, John, you guys don't get to go anywhere. John, if you wouldn't mind holding half the scissors with Karen, and then we're going to have you flanked by AJ and Cindy, and then the rest of us will just be in the background. All right? All right, where's the, right here. Right up front. And then we'll just stand in the background. So we'll just stand in the background.
Yeah,
Here, you can. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here, we're going to have you guys. We're standing in the background.
It won't cut.
And yeah.
Find a window.
Find a window. Thank you.
Is everybody done? You're going to have to give me a cue when you're done. Angie? All right, you're usually the boss over there. You gotta. Okay. All right, John, switch them up. Really sure. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you so much, folks. Come on in. We'd love to have you for a tour. Just go ahead and float around anywhere. City staff will be in there making sure you don't get in too much trouble. Chat them up, ask them questions, all sorts of good things. Oh, and there's refreshments downstairs. Popcorn, cheese curds, water, all sorts of good stuff. So